Hello, hope you're enjoying the study of preaching and have gotten some great insights from the books you're reading. What I want to share with you right now has to do with expository preaching. I found that expository preaching was a wonderful way to encompass all the things that I have been learning in seminary and really have applied it in this way. So I want to kind of show you how expository preaching is built on what you're learning in all your seminary courses. First of all, if you can think of expository preaching as this big umbrella, and it first of all encompasses exegesis. Now, I've heard the term exegetical preaching. Technically speaking, there is not such a thing as exegetical preaching. Exegesis has to do with the study. It has to do with understanding what the text says. What the text says in and of itself. Not what the implications of that text is, but what is the text actually saying? And for that, we first of all have to begin with a good translation, and then we make observations. We first of all develop a pericope, which has to do with the beginning and ending point of a sense unit. A pericope is a sense unit in Scripture from which I can develop a sermon or a series of sermons in one sense unit. You can do that and have a theme that encompasses several sermons. But from there, once I have the pericope established, from which I will derive a message, a sense unit has a message, then I get the context of it, I develop the structure and see what is in the structure of the text itself. Not the structure of my sermon. I look at the content from the perspective of argument. I look at the words that are used to accentuate or to form the argument. I look at the didactic information, what is being taught, to whom is it being taught, the Sitz und Leben of that text, and all of the parts of exegesis. Now, once I have understood what the text says, then the next question is a hermeneutical question. What does it mean? Hermeneutics has to do with meaning. And this is the domain of theology, systematic theology, biblical theology, historical theology. The various approaches toward theology really deal with, once we know what the text says, what does it mean? What does it mean in its context? What does it mean for our belief? And here it is, what does it say? What does it say to the immediate situation? This is now, what does it mean for our belief? But now the third dimension of expository preaching is our subject today, homiletics. And there are many parts of it, but the primary question is, what does it mean for me, for my hearers, and in a sense, what should be the response? What should the response of faith look like? That's what homiletics is concerned about. So in exegesis, what does the text say? The preacher then moves to hermeneutics. What does it mean for what we believe? And then finally, what does it mean to me, or what should be my response of faith? Here in homiletics, I deal with the purpose and a plot for how to convey that. You know, Calvin Coolidge was a commentator of a sermon one time. He went to a church one day, and afterwards his wife asked him, what was the sermon about? He said, I think it was about sin. And then the wife wanted to know, well, what did the preacher say about sin? And Calvin Coolidge says, well, I think he was against it. Spoken like a true politician. Well, the homiletical task is to be much clearer than that. And so purpose and plot have a lot to do with people understanding the response of faith. That's what we're studying in this class. These are things that you are studying in your hermeneutic is really the domain of theology, and you'll be studying that. Exegesis is in all of your language and your Bible classes, but all of it fits together in this expository preaching. In the Sermon on the Mount, you are being asked to do an expository preaching. And really, you have the wonderful opportunity to incorporate, to gather in all the things that you've been learning in seminary and put it into practice right there. I'm looking forward to seeing what you write and hearing your sermons if you choose to preach on that one. Thanks.